are you willing to put up to counter some of what's going on here? So, for those of you that don't know, this all really, I mean, this group kind of came together, excuse me, a few years back. And everybody understands that when you purchase a property at Surf Song, you have the choice of either not renting, you can rent through the rental program, or you can rent on your own. That's how it's always been. That's how it still is. For those that rented outside of the rental program, there was never any sort of penalty or $50 fee that we pay now. There was none of that. It was just understood that you rented on your own. You know, those that were in the rental program, we know the benefits they get, the daily maid service. They get people booked on their behalf. And then the give back is 25%, I think now, and soon it's going to be going to 28%. So anyway, a few years back, John approached us about paying $50 per renter throughout the rental season, which they defined as May something to October something, I think it was. So we obviously didn't like that. We saw it as an injustice. We ended up hiring an attorney, and John did as well, obviously. So, some of the attorneys spoke for a little bit. It got to a point where our attorney pretty much said, you know what, you don't really have a leg to stand on. So with that, we kind of flipped the script and said, you know what, John, we don't need to have all these attorneys involved. It's costing everybody money. Not only were we paying for our attorney, but we were partially paying for Surf Song's attorney. We'll roll over and pay the $50. We understand what happened here, and the whole genesis of it was that Chris Garner, who was a former board president and owned 11 properties, sold all of his 11 properties, all of which were in the rental program. So with that, the rental program took a hit, and they were looking to recoup some dollars. We were an easy target, and the long story short, we agreed to the $50. So I know there were some of you at that time, and I kind of volunteered to be the liaison between the board and our group. So I know at that time some of you were concerned about, hey, they're asking for 50 now, what's going to happen? They're going to ask for more. I didn't think that would happen for some time. Lo and behold, as we know, it just happened. They were trying to implement it for this coming season in the spring. I got enough of a quorum, where we were against it, where I just said, John, that's not happening. We're not doing it. So, consistent with that, he also put out, we want you to pay $100 a month for any long-term renter you have in the off season during the winter months. So we left it as kind of agreeing to that, but absolutely no on the increased fees in the spring. So that's where we are at this point.
So you guys are paying $100 a month for your off-season rentals?
Well, right now, I think Kelly and I are the only ones that are renting long-term. Suzanne, I know you're trying to. I don't know if you have anyone on the hook yet.
Yeah, but even if I do, he will not get $100 from me.
Okay.
I won't do it. I don't think any of us should.
I know Art's got it advertised too. I don't know if he's got anybody yet, but he's looking for a winter rental as well.
Okay. So anyway, that's some of the background of how we got together for those of you that don't know. And then we've kind of band together and kind of hung out together whenever the BS would come down the pipe. We'd banter about it, obviously, on the Facebook Messenger site. So, what's happening now, in my mind, is just absolutely ridiculous. And I think we all know what he wants to and what he, as Mike's going to get into, what he's able to do with the meters. The issue I have with it, and I think the issue that everybody should have with it, and Lynn, I think you had said earlier, I can't believe that everybody doesn't have an issue with this. I can't believe it either. because it doesn't take, a brain surgeon to realize that we're gonna pay roughly 50 grand as an organization to transition the meters. There's gonna be no adjustment to the HOA. However, on day one, we're going to be issued bills for our electric. So the Surf Song is gonna pay a lesser amount than they normally do. They're gonna be taking in the same amount that they normally do. And that difference indirectly is gonna go to fund the meters. Now, John claims all day long that he, Surf Song, we've done such a great job at managing the money here. We're gonna be paying for that transition. Yeah, on paper they are, but you know what? Through the back door, we're paying it. We absolutely are paying. And then it remains to be seen what adjustments are gonna be made down the road, if any. I don't think it makes sense. And I'm not saying that because I think we're gonna be paying a little bit more. We are. Everybody's gonna be paying more. All 90 units are gonna be paying more. The whole reason that we paid off that loan this year and had 2 additional HOA payments was so we could pay off that loan, save on the interest, and now we're realizing extra 7 grand a month. That's what the loan payment was per month, just under 7 grand. So we have roughly 84 grand in additional revenue, if you will, coming in the door. Yes, some things have gone up. The insurance went up. We dodged the bullet. We thought it might go up more. It went up modestly, relatively speaking. We know that, utilities have gone up. We know that the disposal has gone up. Yes. But we have 84 grand more. And what bothers me most about this is the spending spree that John is going on. The 50 grand for the meters. He said to me 27, but I think he got it for under 20 to get the rocks removed. Is that number right, Mike?
18K,
18K.
because he wasn't allowed to move all the stones.
And keep in mind,
So
it's
can
not
somebody
gonna stop
explain
with
to
the
me what
electric
that
meters,
means? What
because
he
the
did
gas
about that?
meters have to be changed, right? And there's one other as well, Mike.
Yeah, the parking lights? The parking lot lights?
Stuff has to get, no, there's another, energy thing, isn't there? The gas,
Water.
the water.
Oh, well, actually, there's 3 meters.
Yeah, the
meters.
electric, the gas, and the water.
Yeah, gas, water, and electric.
Right. So, they don't obviously come for free. There's gonna be a cost to that. Whether or not there's gonna be an assessment remains to be seen. But the fact of the matter is, if nothing changes and he goes through with the meters and we're paying electric plus the same HOA, across the board, everybody's paying more. So the issue really becomes now, what is he legally able to do according to the bylaws, which are the governing papers by which we all live by. And Mike, props to Mike. I mean, he has really dug into that paperwork. He's gone to Cape May County and, pulled the recorded documents, which are really the only ones that count. And he scoured those documents. And I've had conversations with Mike. He, to his credit, has gone through. He understands it better than all of us, I'm sure. I know he does. And Mike, I'm going to turn it over to you if you'd like to share some of the things that you found, some of the legal things that he's able to do, and then some of the things that he's not able to do that he's trying to do that maybe if we decide to, we can try to counter in some way.
Okay,
So Mike, I hand it over to you.
great, thanks, Eric. All right, I'm gonna preface this by saying I'm not an attorney, okay? So I was looking at legal docs, but I'm no attorney. I didn't make it into law school. But here's what I see, and what I did was, and I sent the link to everyone so you guys can look this up yourself. The recorded docs of Cape May County, the website's terrific. And if you have the patience go through it, you can see all the recorded docs. So any one of us can do this. What I found was John and the Board of Trustees do have the right. They do have the right to enforce the individual metering, which is in the condo docs, the recorded condo docs. Now, I know that there was at some point an addendum prepared that showed that the meters would go to the HOA. That document was not recorded, from what I can tell.
Is that the one that Stacy had?
Yes.
All right, because
Listen, I would love for it to be recorded.
I have three documents. Do you have the master deed from June 26, 2026? A first amendment that was
2006, yep.
2006. Do you have the first amendment, July 19, 2011?
Yes.
And then an amendment to the master deed and bylaws, February 10, 2017. Do you have that one as well?
All three. They're the
Okay, that's
three
all I
ones.
have. Are they the only ones that
They're the only ones.
Okay,
that
all right.
pertain to this.
Okay.
Good. I'm glad that you did that. That matches up with what I have.
Yep, I would just want to make sure. Okay.
I can
And does
see that.
everybody else have those copies?
No, I don't know. Do they? I didn't send anything out. Just
Look and see
so-
what I got.
I think I have the three of them.
Okay, well, at the end, if anybody's missing any, just let us know, because I do have three of them, and I can either throw them through the messenger or an email or whatever, but just make a note on the side if, after this conversation, if anybody needs it. But go ahead, Mike, sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you.
No problem. So the $47,000 for the meters, I do want to go back to that for a second. We talked about this for probably more than half the meeting. And it's very evident to me, the $47,000, there is no cost benefit analysis prepared, none at all. So just exactly what Eric said, we're putting out $47,000. John said that, oh, don't worry, condo fees will definitely come down. When, John? When? Oh, we don't know. Don't worry about it. They'll come down. So we know the equation is kind of simple. We're investing $47,000 combined. The payback period's probably between 3.5 and 5 years. That's if the electricity bill goes down 20% a year. That's what it really comes down to. So that's your break-even point from a financial standpoint. He does have the right to do it. Furthermore, any other spend does not have to be approved by us. None of it. The anything over $5,000, for example, the Board of Trustees, that's the board. They can vote to increase and to pay for anything. So, and that's in fact what we see they're doing. The $52,000 for the storm doors. They did that on their own, right? We got some forewarning of it, but they spent the money.
And Mike, real quick, storm doors 52K, is that just for half or is that for all?
No, that's everything allegedly. Now, John said in the meeting they got a $100 break on the west side doors. Okay, we'll see if that's true. That went from $4.99 each to $3.99 each. So they kind of bragged about that. Overall, $52,000. If you want to assume, I don't know, $500 a door times 90 is 45,000 plus the installation cost. Kind of rings true. So I think the 52,000 is right. By the way, I thought I'd mention, since they bragged about the storm doors, which we questioned at the last meeting, apparently, as John was talking about it, he failed to mention that 3 of the storm doors are leaking. Just thought I'd mention it. All right, so that was not brought up in the meeting, but the $52,000 spend was. He did bring up the $18,000, and I think there was a question, what's the $18,000 for? That's basically to cement near the sidewalk where those little grass plots were and those little bushes. They're just cemented over. That's what happened.
Okay.
That's all. So
However, there were the rocks that were there.
the rocks were there. Now, John told me it was to avoid paying someone to trim those or whatever. But I think he told Art it's because they have a legal exposure if somebody steps in there and trips or whatever.
We did have somebody take the rocks and throw them and break the vending machine, and I was there when that happened, so. I mean, I guess he's not 100% wrong.
Yeah, so they have the right to spend the $18,000, short of it, for the condo docs, they do. It's the Board of Trustees, basically controls all the finances. Looking at some other.
I understand that as well. I just have to say this. I have no problem with that, but there's no reason that, he couldn't have asked for a handful of volunteers and we couldn't have picked up the rocks ourselves.
Absolutely.
Well, that's what
$18,000.
Art said at the meeting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He did say that.
Art said he could have done it for a lot cheaper.
Absolutely.
Nobody knew, so.
Right.
That's just it. Everything's a secret. He refuses to tell anybody about anything. I mean, I saw a Facebook post the other day that new storm doors went up. Oh, do I have one? I don't know. Maybe I have a door now. I mean,
Sean just went
Yeah.
down, this past weekend and those are up too, so the whole fifth
Okay.
ward.
The
Yeah.
communication, terrible.
All
Absolutely.
right, so Mike, anything else in your?
Yeah, I wanna talk a little bit, just briefly about the decision to pay back the loan. I know it doesn't matter now, but just looking at the financial equation here, it's a $280,000 payoff. What I was told was, John hates interest, right? Does this ring true with everyone else? He hates paying that interest bill? He told me it was an 8% coupon rate. I'm like, wow, good move. Well, guess what? It's not 8%. It's not an 8% interest rate. It's 4.5%. So guess what? Not the greatest move. Last year's interest expense was less than $12,000. It's $1,000 a month. So we paid 2 quarterly assessments. I know we avoided the debt repayment, but from a financial standpoint, not the best move. Just saying. But that's in the past. They had the right to do it. So there are some of the financial things in that meeting that we discussed. Now, let me talk about a couple of things that were not discussed in the meeting.
Wait, Art, can I mention something? I think you might bring this up. Remember how he said he fired the accountant?
Oh, yeah, I'm gonna get to that.
Okay, I wasn't sure if you.
Actually, that is well placed, because I was gonna back that up with what's going on with the audit.
Okay.
So, actually, John mentioned more than once that he was firing the accountant. He told me a week before in person, the reason he was firing him is because the guy didn't reconcile within $40 of the expenses. That's what he told me. What he said in the meeting is, let's see,
Get down.
I did it right. Oh, accountant leaving us on 12/31, and he alluded to them, he didn't do something right, whatever that means. So John is the treasurer, he's the president, he made that decision. All right, so I wanted to get into the audit. So I looked at the audit, and I apologize for not looking at this before. I should have done it. I'm a financial guy. I should have looked at the audit. The audit is extremely revealing, in my view. By the way, if you look at what is allowed in condo docs and what is not, we have the right, we should have been given the audited financials 90 days after year end. Did anybody get the audit within 90 days of year end? The answer is no, because the audit's dated May 23rd. So that was not followed, we didn't follow the condo docs there. They didn't deliver it. Now let's think about why maybe we didn't get that. So we should have got it by March 31. April, isn't that when we had the meeting? Did we have the meeting in April? Yeah, we had the meeting in April. He asked the auditor to produce the report. The report for the last 2 years has been May 22nd or May 23rd. Is that a coincidence that we get audited financials after the meeting? By the way, the report's dated May 23rd. We didn't get it till what? July 21st? I think that's when it hit my email box. So we're getting delayed financials for whatever reason. We're getting delayed audit report. Now, what is actually in the audit report? The audit report gives a clean assessment, opinion of the financial statements for Surfsong HOA. What it doesn't do is tell us what's going on in the rental program, out of scope, and also specifically renders no opinion on the reserve fund. The accountant basically says it's very important to have those supplemental financial statements audited, but there's an absence of the information. They didn't audit them. So there is no opinion of the reserve fund, which, by the way, just so happens to be, according to the auditor's report, the year-end balance was $40,000. According to another report that the auditor released, the opinion of what we need in reserves, fully funded, is 1.8 million. You guys all have the report. You can assess it yourself. I asked people that know, what is the real number? What's the minimum we should actually have in reserves? I was given the range of 20 to 40% of the 1.8 million. So 1.8 million times 20% is what? $36,000? $360,000?
Yeah.
30% is 540. 40% is $740,000. We're way short, folks, by anyone's measure. If you take the financial statements that weren't emailed to us, do you see the picture I'm drawing here for you? The email, we didn't get them. The only reason that anybody in the meeting got them is because I beat up John for a full week and that morning to hand out the financial statements. That's what occurred. Those financial statements show, let's take John's financial statement. He says the reserves are 167,000 at the end of August. Okay, let's take him at his word. I don't know why we do that. Let's just do that, because he doesn't lie, right? $167,000. Yet we need what? Between 360 and 540 minimum? It's 540. I think that's the right number. The number this year, per John's financial statements that he printed out and handed for those that were at the meeting, the reserves have gone down 26% in the last year. Down. So the spending spree, he just started spending more money. That means the reserve position is going to be worse. By the way, the $47,000, where do you think that's coming from? You think that just prints out? No. So our reserve position is woefully short. That's not me evaluating it. Those financial statements that were audited, there was a reserve account listed right on the auditor's report. And if you have the financials now, if you were lucky enough to get them, John even says it's 167. So it's short, folks. That's what I'm telling you.
Yeah, and the point with that is it's not that we have to fund it overnight to get it up to 360 or 540, whatever, but we need to make strides in the right direction. And the way that he is spending right now is counter to all of that. He's depleting the funds that we have in the general fund. We're not going to be able to add to the reserves like we need to. That's the bottom line.
That's right. All right. So as far as the reserves, anything else financially that I see in there? And there's some minor things that it looks like we're not in compliance of. I mean, the fine, I think it was announced that we're going to fine people $25 for the pool pass. Now, the condo docs say you can't fine any more than $10 for any occurrence. So I don't know. Has anybody been fined for anything? There's very little fine income. It's like $300. Any of us been fined for anything?
No.
Well, we shouldn't pay more than $10. If anybody doesn't come there with wristband, the condo docs clearly say $10 is the max per occurrence. That's what it says. All right, so here's what is not in the condo docs. Remember I kept harping to this group about John won't email the financials out? Condo docs have no reference to his requirement to send it out. So actually, if you look at the condo docs, he doesn't have to. However, New Jersey Condo Association regs, whatever that is, apparently do demand that.
Yes.
Common sense says he should do it.
Yep.
He's not doing it. He replied in writing to me and others. Well, he replied to me in writing. He's not going to do it. So he's an idiot for writing that in an email. But
told
anyway,
me as well, I think.
did anybody get the financials emailed to them? I'm thinking,
No.
Right. So he's not cooperating with any of us, right? I mean, I think we can conclude that. So I think that he's in violation of that reg. That's a big one in my opinion, because it
Yes.
kind of goes to that audit being, the audit information being released late. I don't know. I think the financials are being kind of kept from us. And it's probably for a reason.
I agree.
Does anybody not see it that way? I'd like to hear different opinions here. Maybe I'm looking at it wrong.
Well, in the interest of transparency, I mean, everything should be detailed. And everybody should have access to that information at any time. That's the way I see it.
Well, truthfully, we could ask to see the books, which is going to send him right over the top.
Thank you, Lynn.
We are by law allowed. Yeah, I think they have to show them within 30 days. I would have to look. I forget what
10
what
days.
it is. But if we really again, I'm another one who doesn't wanna stir the pot because it'll come back and bite me in the ass, but truth be told, we should know what the hell's going on. You know,
Sure.
like, and as a group, and I'm sure we can't be the only ones in this freaking building that want to see them. Like, it just doesn't make sense to me what the rest of these people are thinking. And I do think that we should possibly
ignorant is
request
bliss.
to see them.
Yeah, the bylaws do, allow for a request. And they have to make the books and records available.
Yep.
In 10 days' notice.
Yep.
So, that's a potential action item, right? I'm sure, you know, there's folks on this phone that would love to make that request to John. And if they don't, I will. Because now I want to see the info, because there's a reason this is being withheld from us. So the books and records, and then here's one thing that, at this point, I don't know it's a violation of the condo docs. But the rental program expenses are to be carried and covered by rental program, the owners of the rental program units.
That's right.
That is an absolute fact.
Yep.
Isn't that interesting? We're meeting as a private rental group. We're not responsible for that. The folks on the other end are. And by the way, it's very obvious to me, now, you guys, some of you have the budget for next year. It specifically states in the budget that the HOA is paying payroll paid to rental program, $52,000 for next year. And it looks like that number 52, 51, that's been happening for the last couple of years. So here's one way this makes sense. If it's $104,000 we're paying those people in the summer, I don't know what we're paying them, and they're allocating 50% to the HOA and 50% to the rental program, I guess that's the rationale. I don't know that until I see the books and records. But what I'm telling you is, I keep hearing, and in the meeting it brought up a couple times, the rental program's paying our salaries, right? They're paying the salaries for the folks that are in that office. I mean, you guys tell me, I've only been in it a couple of years. Has that always been customary that half of the money or whatever percentage gets charged to the HOA and the rest is in the rental program? I mean, is anybody aware of that?
It doesn't make any sense to me. Like, why run a rental program that can't break even? What's the benefit of the program? I mean, like, my other association doesn't have a program. We all do our own thing and pay association fees to maintain the building. Like, why is he so adamant about having this program that's a sinking ship? I mean, my mom's definitely not in the program. She made so little money, and you know, like, they're not competently running it. Like, the Surf Song Condos is a person page, and that's how Terry posts. Like, it's ludicrous. Like, it's so unprofessional.
Well, I can tell, I agree with you. The thing has to stand on its own, right? Which should not be subsidized by, of all people, the people not in the rental program, right? That's who's paying for this, if you look at it. Only 30% of the 90 units are in the rental program. If it's losing money, and I don't know if it is, but we're gonna find out, because we have the right to inspect the books.
But Mike, the other piece to it is if it needs to be funded to make it whole so that it is at break even, that needs to be funded by those in the rental program only. Is that not correct?
Yes, let me read the actual reference in the condo docs. This is an addendum that was recorded. The cost of operating the on-site rental program shall be an expense of the renting owners. That's a direct reference to the, and it was Chris Garner was the president, I guess, when this was executed. That was back in.
It says renting owners, it doesn't say rental program owners.
Expense of the renting owners.
Yeah, but you know, isn't it all nullified when you go back to the part where it says the board can spend whatever money they want? Okay, so the board's decided they're gonna spend our money to support John's rental program.
Now, I think this is just if this program is losing money, and we don't know that, because they didn't give the statements, they didn't give the information to the auditors. The information was not released to us. Have you folks ever seen in the past any breakout of what the rental program produced?
I think that comes out in the April numbers, doesn't it show?
Well, John did
They
mention.
can't, they couldn't have, got those numbers together by the October meeting. The rental program wasn't even finished yet.
Yeah,
Right.
then I think you're right. I think it comes
Right?
out.
I
in
mean,
spring.
yeah, I mean,
Well, John did brag in April that, hey, I put in $52,000 into that rental program. Boy, that seems to match up with that. I keep seeing this $52,000 number. I think it's a repetitive subsidy. Now,
Well, the other piece to it is, Mike, and this is just, this screams to the situation of the rental program. He always told the people that it would be going down, you know, the 25% would be going down to 22 or 20, whatever it was. It's
15.
coming up to 28%.
Yeah.
So it clearly needs more money.
well, he said in the meeting, you guys tell me that you know, you were right beside me, Suzanne,
Yeah,
that his budget for 2024 originally had 15% was his goal. 15%.
Yeah.
We're at 25, and he said at the end of the meeting, by the way, it's 28 for next year. So to me, hey, what do I know? Just a numbers guy.
and they said something about having
Win-win-win.
problems. Wasn't Giovanni in on that? They said something about it has problems and they have to work through like. And my thing is, they can't even guarantee that my place would be rented all summer. You know, like, and then I can't vet who I want in. No, it doesn't make any sense.
and they lost a couple more people this year because
Yeah.
Diane, your people, your 510, they're not renting. Right? Diane, oh, she left me.
Yeah,
I
that's what she
I don't think they're renting, and Mike and Celeste are not renting this year, which are 503, so there aren't many 2 bedrooms available.
Sorry, I stepped away. They are not gonna rent.
They're not renting, yeah, that's what I thought, so, I mean, for
You know how much
2 bedrooms,
pleasure I took in that? I was like,
I was skipping down the hallway.
although I will say I did kind of take a step back and go, ugh, that's gonna be another person on John's side.
Well, they were at the meeting, and I think they really wanted to stick their fingers in their ears because he was cursing up a storm,
Oh.
and it was pathetic. It was pathetic, like "Welcome to the Surf" song.
Yeah, how classy.
You know where they made settlement Friday and the meeting was Saturday? Yeah, it was nice. It was
Oh,
really.
yeah, I pushed to settle before the meeting. I was like,
Yeah. Anyway, I'm sorry again.
It's okay. By the way, if anybody wants to know, I was the effing wise guy.
You were awesome. You were awesome.
oh my God. We're also so glad that we sold to you. I'm like, oh my God, like I couldn't be happier to have you as part of this.
I wish I would have got more involved earlier, but I can't change that now. Here's a quote, Giovanni, that's his name, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. You know, we are having problems. We need help with the rental program. He said that. He said that in the meeting. We need help with the rental program. Now, John, out a little bit. And John did acknowledge that last year's rates were too low. Can you believe this? This goes to the point of a mismanaged program. And I noticed for a fact, because I tried to rent a room, I was testing them to see what rate I would get. And it was 15% below Montego Bay's cheapest, smallest unit for the first week of August. How bad is that? So to give John credit here, I told him about it. Within the next week, they bumped the rates up to what I'll call more market suitable rates. So that proves to me they were not managing. What's that?
Why were the units not renting if they were below rate? Like, this still doesn't make sense to me.
Who knows?
Because they don't market them like
They're
like
not
Lynn said.
advertised at all. The
It's
website
terrible.
is not up to date. I mean, I was in the rental program. I mean, I know all the things that they did wrong, and I mean, it's terrible. They don't rent week to week, so if somebody wants to rent for 2 random days during the week, they'll book that, and then they've got to fill all around it.
Well, and then even
These are one-offs. These are one-offs, but I've heard of John scaring people off too, where they say, "Screw this, I'm out of here. I'm never coming back."
in
Oh,
September,
absolutely.
they insisted on 3-day weekends. So like my mom's unit was sitting empty, and instead of going like, okay, let's drop it to 2, they're like, nope, that's what we were told, 3 days. And I'm like, she's not renting. Open it up.
Yeah.
All right, so the rental program, and honestly, I offered to help them. I'll help them, because it's, right now, it's coming out of her pocket, right?
I offered to do free marketing. Like I was the director of marketing for our brewery. And I was flat out told, nope, there's too many owners already working in the office. Actually, Joe first called me and told me that he had, talked to them and, they were going to talk to me about it. And then when I followed up, I was told no. And I'm like, I'm a professional. Like I have experience with social media, which apparently Terry does not. Nope. And to me, it's just negligence. They could have hired somebody. They could have hired a college kid, get an intern.
Exactly.
And you do know Darlene left, right?
Oh,
No,
did
I
she?
did not know that.
Darlene's gone.
Where'd she go?
I don't know, but the day of the meeting, when I was in the office, I had asked, and they said her last day was Friday. She dropped off the housekeeper and she never came in, and she's done. So I don't know if you guys were aware of that.
Was she just done for the season?
No, she's done.
Because of John.
Oh,
Dawkins.
that's dreadful. Because Terry's just got the worst personality.
Wait, so now,
Oh.
the $52,000 will be paying whom then?
Terry, Bill, Billy, the two housekeepers,
Housekeeper.
and the other maintenance guy. Tito, is that his name?
And linens.
Bill Flynn.
Bill,
Bill, Terry.
we're
Yeah.
guessing though, keep in mind that 52, we don't know. Maybe it's 104 and 50% is
You
going
know,
to be, I don't even know, honestly, I don't
So
know.
many people have brought up things that would increase the revenue. Somebody, Benny from, he's in one of the 500 units, he suggested a 2.5% resort fee that was passed on to the renters. John hated that idea. We talked about linens. We don't need daily maid service. We don't have to wash the towels every single
So
day. I
dumb.
mean, that would be another savings, but they don't want to hear it. They just want to treat it like it's a hotel when clearly it isn't.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. Did anybody hear Michelle? She's saying that I didn't hear her.
No.
She can't